Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM19 story, The Head Coach with me, Daniel. It's season 13, episode 9, and today we're back slightly later than planned, and it's for a domestic game on this occasion. We're playing third place Braga away from home in the Portuguese Premier League, in one of the key games in our quest to wrap up the Portuguese title, to seal a domestic treble, which would be a brilliant achievement at the club. We have had a few disappointments since the last episode, as well as one massive high. We've had probably one of the best results of our career, followed by one of the worst. We've had some really brilliant news in the transfer window, but then some injury problems afterwards. So it's been a case of ups and downs. We're going to start on the transfer screen so we don't spoil any of the results. So I'm just going to show you the ins and outs, and I think you'll notice there's one big omission on the outs, and it's really helped us in the last month or so, particularly in domestic games. Ben Harush, our brilliant Israeli wonder kid, rejected the deal at Bayer Leverkusen. He was unhappy at the wage terms being offered, and as a result he rejected the contract there. As a result, we've still got 3 sales on deadline day, but none of them were key players in the squad. They were all backups or third choice players. So the first of those was the disastrous goalkeeper signing from last summer, Ryan Pardo Roques. He's gone to West Ham for $5.5 million, a $2.5 million loss on the deal 5 months before. The biggest flop from Hugo Viana this time. Signing 2 goalkeepers as key players in the same transfer window really didn't make much sense, and now he's gone to be West Ham's number 2, but at least he's playing games in the Europa League. It's a decent sum of money, and it's not too much of a loss, so I guess it could have been a little bit worse given the circumstances. The second one to go was David Rivera. He was the backup striker for £15 million. He's a 29-year-old Chilean, and he's gone off to Southampton in the Premier League. He's doing pretty well there, 2 goals and 2 assists in 6 starts, and he was obviously a hero for us in the last episode, as he scored a goal to contribute to our League Cup final success. That was against today's opponents Braga too, as we renew our rivalry with AVB, but David Rivera's not going to be contributing to that. He was unhappy and wanted to leave, and it's a good sum of money Viana's got for him. And then our 4th choice centre-half Wilson Cortez, he's gone to Ajax for $4.3 million. There's lots of add-ons and a sell-on clause with this one. He's a good young centre-half, and he's starting games for Ajax already. He looks a pretty decent player there. But they've obviously been replaced by 2 big-ins, 2 players that we didn't spend a lot of money on, but one of them in particular is a superstar. So first is Carlos Sanchez, a goalkeeper from Dinamo Zagreb, $875,000, and he's a pretty solid player across the board, not far off the standard of Pardo Roques, a 28-year-old Colombian, on a much lower wage and happy to be a backup keeper. He's the sort of signing we really wanted. Then last but not least is Luka Miladinovic. He's come from Partizan Belgrade for $2.3 million, and he's an absolutely brilliant striker, 3.5-star ability, 3.5 potential, a 22-year-old Serbian international, only on around 30 grand a week, significantly less than Rivera was on, and he looks like he's going to be sensational. He's already contributed a few goals for us, so we're really happy with that signing. And with Gerardo out injured, he's rated almost as good, so to bring him in for $2.3 million is an absolute steal for Sporting. He'll probably be one of the ones that gets sold on in a couple of years, but we'll make the most of him being here at the moment, as we're not likely to be here for much longer. Still, overall, it's a profit in the transfer window over the course of the season, but Hugo Viana's done a decent job. We did have a couple of other surprises too. One player came back from a loan. I didn't know that was even possible with the director of football. I wasn't paying attention on deadline day. There were messages flying around all over the place, so I'm not sure if he was recalled or if his loan was terminated by the other club. But Jallo, our wonder kid young striker, the 19-year-old Portuguese player, he's come back from his loan as well. 3-star ability now, 5-star potential to give us another option up front. With Gerardo coming back to fitness, we should be strong in that area of the pitch, as Felipe's come back from his Brazilian international duties and he's involved in the squad now too. But the headline news is obviously that we keep hold of Ben Harush. He's going to be a superstar towards the end of the year, although he is still unhappy about wanting to move, despite the fact he's turned down by a Leverkusen. As a result, he's probably not performing at his best, but he's still doing a pretty decent job overall. But with that done, it's time to move on to the schedule to see how we've been getting on since you were last with me, and I'll warn you, this is a very topsy-turvy table. We're still doing brilliantly in the league, and in fact we've won every game since the last episode, until it all went wrong 3 days ago. I was desperately trying to avoid showing Porto. We obviously skipped past the league game at the start of February. We talked about showing the second leg of the Shakhtar game, but we were 5-0 up remarkably after the away leg, and it would have just been pointless showing you that. And then I thought we could show you the second leg of the Porto one, renew the rivalry but in Europe, and then we went and lost the first leg 5-1 this time, so we're virtually out of the competition already. We've now got a tough league game which we've got to focus on, and I think we're going to have to settle for a domestic treble. But if we go through the results in full, after the Braga game we played Pacos Ferreira, a 3-1 win with 2 first half goals, Sousa and Schürrle getting those, and a late consolation via an own goal after Ben Harush has added a third. Then against Porto we got a comprehensive 3-0 win in the league. Dembele picked up a knock in that one, which left him out for the rest of the month, but Miladinovic got his first for the club, and Michel and Sanchez added first half goals. We won 1-0 away to Europa the following weekend. They held Benfica just beforehand to widen our gap to 7 points, despite Benfica being invincible. Sousa getting the early goal in that one, and we managed to hold on despite a nervy finish to get a brilliant result in the league. Then our best result of the series arguably, a 5-0 win away at Shakhtar. Hyosung with a brace, the same for Miladinovic, and Sanchez got a late goal too. We absolutely ran riot. It was a brilliant away performance. It's a shame we couldn't replicate that against Porto. A 3-1 win followed at home against Belenenses in the league. Ronald with a brace and Felipe got a goal as we rotated a little bit in that one. And then at home to Shakhtar in the second leg, a much rotated side again. Sanchez with a brace and Tomic and Miladinovic as we won 4-2 to make it 9-2 on aggregate. A brilliant performance overall and a chance to rest some players for the weekend. It worked out as we won that one 1-0, Hyosung with a first half goal, and we managed to nick a win against our feeder club to keep us clear at the top of the table. Then into March, it all started so well. We played Maritimo at home in the league, a side that my beloved Luton Town have just played in real life in pre-season. Luton won 2-0 in that one, and we won 3-0 in this reality. Sousa de Campo and Hyosung with the goals, a really comfortable victory, but a little knock for Bernardo Sousa. But then away to Porto, it all went wrong in Europe. What's the chances of getting them again in this one? We played them so many times, 2 different cup competitions, 2 in the league of course, and now 2 in Europe. Obviously these were the most disappointing ones, alongside the Portuguese Cup. They've had a really disappointing season. Their manager got sacked in February, and the new one certainly seems to be a bit better, as he comprehensively put us to the sword. 4 goals for Nuno Marques, the striker, and if we go and have a look at him, he's nothing special, just a decent player with plenty of pace, and he caught us out with his acceleration off the mark. We did get a very late consolation with Hyosung, but I think that's going to be a little too late. I can't see us getting back into that one. We're going to focus on the Braga game today though. Let's go and have a look at the competition screen. With 4 points clear of Benfica, but this is our game in hand. Braga are on 50 in third place, the best of the rest this season, and 7 points clear of Porto for them. That's some achievement based on their recent seasons. So let's go and get into the game, have a look at the lineup we're going to be putting out today. Porto won their game earlier, but we're only focused on ourselves. Porto are obviously heavy favourites for the European game. I really hope we can spring a surprise, but I don't see us winning by 4 clear goals, and especially without conceding. We've got Michel out at centre-half, which has really been a miss. He's been out for about a month and a half now, and as a result, Ryan Astley's getting pulled all over the place, and Piakshao hasn't formed the same partnership with him. Gerardo's just on his way back now, but we've still got 3 other good strikers at the club. Leonardo Felipe, the youngster's not available in Europe, but I guess that's only going to affect one more game. Let's have a look at the lineup as we're the slight favourites. We've got a couple of players not quite fit today, most importantly Bernardo Sousa, the 20 goal number 10's not available, and Gerardo, the second top scorer's out as well, so it's going to make it a difficult occasion for us. De Campo's not fit either, he's dropped out of the squad entirely, and we've got a couple of others struggling in the 11. Ben Harush might not do 90 minutes, but we've got Fabrizio in goal for this one. Vernier and Rodriguez are the fullbacks with Piakshao and Astley in the middle. They're the only 2 fit centre halves at the moment. We've got Schürrle and Cunha in central midfield. We did think think about bringing in the new player, but Mejolaro's been disappointing so far, so we're going to leave him out for a few more games. Dembele's coming back to fitness on the right, with Ben Harush on the left, and Sanchez comes into the number 10 role, with Miladinovic up front. He's been brilliant since he joined the club, and hopefully he'll have a good game today. We've got a couple of game changers on the bench, but we're still not quite up to the standard we'd hoped for, and obviously Sousa and Gerardo were our key players in the first half of the year, and neither of those are available in the squad. So it is going to be a very difficult game, but hopefully we can go and get a result. It's a 4-2-3-1 for Braga, but again 2 holding midfielders, the same as we had in the League Cup final, so we know what to expect and we know what they're going to do. They didn't really put up a fight in the last one, but at home this time I think they'll be more attacking, and it's going to be difficult for us on the back of a 5-1 defeat to keep our confidence and do the job. Let's see how the first half starts. If it doesn't go too well, we can drop to a balanced mentality, although that obviously didn't work at Porto. It's Braga playing it along the back as Reyes gets it into midfield. They've got an injured goalkeeper, which is a little bit of a surprise. I wasn't expecting to see that so early on. We've got a corner with Ben Harush now from the left. Surely that's going to be a penalty. We've got VAR again. What's going on? The penalty's been given after a review. We didn't even need to look at the screen this time. Let's see who's stepping up. Ousmane Dembele's the best penalty taker. Fingers crossed the experienced winger can put it in. This would be a brilliant start after midweek. Dembele slots it into the corner. Down to the keeper's right. He went the right way, but he wasn't able to get near it as the penalty was placed beautifully. 10 minutes gone and we lead 1-0 despite a pretty nervy start. It's a long throw in for Vernier though. It's headed away as far as Cunha and now Astley. He was making his way back to the fence, but Schürrle recycles it for Sanchez. Out to Dembele on the right. Already scored that penalty of course, but this time he's challenged by Meyer, who clears it long towards Astley. Cunha gets it into Schürrle and now Sanchez. He shoots from a ridiculous angle. It was a speculative effort and it was miles off target. It's still 1-0 with 15 gone. The ball's into the box from Braga, but Fabrizio does brilliantly, comes through the crowd to claim the ball, and now we can roll it out from the back. He goes short to Astley, the centre half. He's gone to the fullback Rodriguez. We've got a chance to bring it forward here, but we're just keeping possession at the moment, and we certainly can't complain about that. Sanchez gets it wide to Ben Harush on the left. Charges at a man, but he's been challenged, and he's cleared long, but only as far as our defender. Paxhao starts to get it forward again. Ben Harush for the second time to Sanchez. He shoots from the edge of the box, and it almost looked like it went through the keeper's hand. Maybe a glitch in terms of the animation, or possibly just an injured keeper who didn't want to injure his arm anymore. 2-0 after 20 minutes though. It's the perfect medicine after that midweek performance, and although going out of Europe will be disappointing, wrapping up the league will certainly make up for it. A quarter of the game gone and Braga have got their first attack, this time a corner in towards Rivero. The striker wins the header at the back post, but it goes comfortably over the bar. Just under half an hour gone, and now Ben Harush is back with our corner. Reyes heads away as far as Rivero. Can Braga counter now? They've got a 3-on-3 briefly as it switched over to the left-hand side. It's a 1-on-1 in the box. He's found Leonardo. His header's good, but it's straight into the arms of Fabrizio, who does well to get over to the left side of his goal. 30 minutes gone. It remains 2-0, but we've had our first couple of scares of the match. 10 minutes to go to the break. It's a Sanchez free kick. What a goal that is. It's from miles out, over 30 yards. It beats the keeper into the top corner, and Sanchez is making up for Sousa not being available. 2 goals already, and he's got another one there. That one goes narrowly wide of the post. 5 minutes to the break. Sanchez has been brilliant, and it's 3-0 and it looks like we're going to win comfortably. A perfect antidote to our midweek performance, although we'd much rather have performed like this in that one too. We're back with Castillo on the edge of the box for Braga. A very weird time to come back. A brilliant effort and a great save from Fabrizio. Up to his left after not doing too much in this half. He's claimed a couple of crosses and made a couple of comfortable saves. And now he gathers the corner as well. He's had a very good half of football. A very good goalkeeper and certainly our number one. And at half time he ensures we lead 3-0. It's been a pretty even game in terms of stats. We have controlled possession slightly more. But in terms of the chances it's been 50-50. We've just been far more clinical, with Sanchez scoring some great goals. He's got the ball from the kick-off here to Cunha. Inside to Schürrle. He gets it inside to Sanchez again, tries to go through the middle to Miladinovic, but he can't get on the end of that as Braga clear the ball. The danger's gone and they've got to throw it right back, though Cunha wins it high up the pitch. His header's intercepted though, and now Braga are on the counter. Leonardo gets it to Rivero and out to Elder, the right back. Brilliant work from Ben Harush though, the Israeli wonder kid getting all the way back, and if we can get a move to a big country this summer, summer. I really do hope he ends up coming with us. He's unhappy, so the big club should be after him, as he is one of the best young wingers in world football. Available for 37 million as well, a lot less than many of his counterparts. Vernier gets the ball to the mentioned Ben Harouche. He comes over halfway to Schürrle. He's got a man over on the right in Dembele, who is coming back from injury, so we'll probably rest him soon, with Hyosung on the bench for the last half an hour. Dembele goes back to Rodriguez. The highlight ends, but it's all very comfortable, and we still lead 3-0 with 10 in the second half gone. A slight change of plan then. We've got an injury to Ben Harouche, the left winger, so we might have to take both of them off, but I don't know if we've got two replacements. Miladinovic is going to go over to the left-hand side. He prefers to be an inside forward, but we can't really do that. We don't want to mess with our shape, so he'll just be a winger on attack. Hyosung will come on the right-hand side, and the wonder kid Jallo will come on up front. Another player produced by this youth academy, so we want to try and get him some first-team football. A brilliant performance so far. Schürrle will be the final sub to come off. Mejalaro on for him. I'm not sure who's the best Mazzala out of the two. I think they're both just as bad as each other, so we'll leave the new signing in that position. Cunha's earned his right to be the deep line playmaker. He'll continue there for the rest of the game. 20 to go. It's 3-0 to Sporting. Hopefully we can hold on to stay in charge of the title race. 5 minutes to go, in fact just under that. We've got a throw on the left hand side and it eventually finds Sanchez. He delivers and the keeper makes a howler. I've no idea what he's done there. Is it the same injured keeper in goal still, Valencia? It is, and they certainly shouldn't have played him, as it's definitely impacted on his performance. Jallo taps it in from 4 yards to the empty net and the wonder kid gets a goal in the Premier League. A brilliant moment for the youngster, and I'm sure the fans will have enjoyed that. It's Rodriguez on the right hand side to Astley. A clever header back to Fabrizio. The final whistle goes before the ball's rolled out. I was about to ask why we're seeing that highlight, but I hadn't looked at the clock to see it was full time. A brilliant 4-0 win against Braga. Two performances in a row against them, which have both been brilliant. It's the one knockback I have of this league, and it does show why we haven't managed here before. There are only 3 or 4 sides competing for things, so you're often playing repetitive opposition. I guess it's a bit like being Celtic or Rangers in Scotland. If we focus on one a bit closer to home, you're always going to show the 4 games against the rivals, and you're likely to play them in the cups as well. So it does make things a little bit more repetitive, but we're obviously only going to be here for 1 year. We want to make sure we get the title job done now, and fingers crossed we'll have 3 trophies in the cabinet. It was a really good performance and I'm proud of the way we got past them. It was a demolition according to the media reports. Speaking of Celtic, they've got 3.2 million for Pak Chau, as he's now played 50 league games for us. We've got an injury to Ben Harouche, but it's only a couple of days, and Sanchez has played brilliantly in that one. We'll praise his form in front of goal, particularly that free kick. A stupendous effort from 35 yards. Our run goes on, it's 14 wins in a row, obviously since we lost to Benfica at the end of November. We saw that one on camera. It's the only points we've dropped this season in the league, so remarkably Benfica are unbeaten at the moment, but they're 7 points behind us, and we're yet to draw a game this season, just 1 defeat and 23 wins. We're obviously playing Benfica once more, but aside from that we shouldn't have any problems now. So we will be back for that game against Benfica. It's in 4 or 5 games time in the middle of April, and then we'll probably just have one at the end to wrap up our time at Sporting and look for a new job, or possibly say farewell to the series. It all depends on whether we can get a big move to Spain, Germany or France. If we can't do that by the start of the season, then we probably will just retire. We've got a brilliant trophy cabinet already, and we're hoping we can add one more this year. But before we round up this episode, it is the 9th of March, so I'm just going to skip through a few days to see if we get our youth intake. If it doesn't come before the next game, then we'll leave it as a surprise for next time. Okay, we've skipped through to match day against Porto in the second leg of the Europa League knockout round. Unfortunately, we haven't had our youth intake yet, so we are going to save it for the next episode. We'll show it before the Benfica match, which is going to be the crucial game in this title race. Hopefully that will culminate with us pretty much wrapping up the league and celebrating a domestic treble with Sporting. It is something I was really looking forward to, as it's obviously one of the most famed youth academies in the world. They produce so many world-class players over the year, including the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo, of course, who's obviously one of the greatest footballers of all time. So there's plenty for the club to live up to. We've already got one wonder kid who scored in this episode, and hopefully there'll be another 1 or 2 to come through, as when we do get to the end of this series, we want to skip forward 10 or 15 years in the future, just to see how all of our favourite players players have got on, whether they've had fantastic careers, or more importantly, did the Wonder Kids reach their potential. We don't just want to leave you wondering with these youngsters, we want to find out how they got on in the future. But if you did enjoy this episode and that fantastic recovery against Braga, please do put a thumbs up on the video. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of the performance and how you can get such a contrast. We had brilliant performances all the way through, unbeaten in so many games, and in a terrible 5-1 defeat at Porto, we did nothing different tactically. We dropped back to balanced at 1-0 and it didn't make any difference. I'm really stumped as to how it happened, or was it just a bad day at the office, or the pressure getting to a few of the big players? I'm not quite sure how to explain it, but either way it was a crushing disappointment. Subscribe to the channel for daily FM19 content from my 2 long-term stories. This one, The Head Coach, where we're obviously pushing towards the title, and we've got a massive decider against second place Benfica coming up. That one will be the big one in the title race, and you'll see that on the channel in 2 days' time. Then our one club story part of the furniture with Torquay United. We started season 15 of that one on Thursday, and it was the most spectacular transfer special we've probably had in that series, or probably on my channel across any series, to be honest. It was absolutely spectacular, massive sums all over the place, loads of records being broken, and some players we're really proud of. So if you haven't been up to date with that series, please do go and check that one out, as I really enjoyed making that transfer special, and there's a couple of brilliant episodes and landmarks coming up. There's also 3 episodes a week from my Cricket 19 career, every Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday at midday. That follows our Ashes Test playthrough, which we did over the last few weeks. A massive thank you to everyone who's tried out that content from either of the series. I really do appreciate it and have been blown away by the support. And if you are a fan of other sports games, please do go and give them a try. There's also weekly content from our Snooker 19 career. That's every Friday at 4:30. We're coming towards the end of the season and the World Championships are coming up. I'm hoping that we'll be able to put on a good performance in the biggest competition on the calendar. But a massive thanks for watching this one and your continued support with the series as always. I really do appreciate it, and I hope to see you next time for another big episode as we play the title decider against Benfica.